It's a bit of a stretch to call Junction 3 on the M50 an interchange, but its official title is Jay's Green Interchange. Now, I love this little example of 1960s planning. Shall we go and see why? So you're probably asking why the M50 was built so early on, given that it seems to just run through a forest and doesn't really connect to anything. But that's the point. It does connect things. It connects the coal-producing regions of South Wales to the industrial regions of the West Midlands. Or it did when it was planned. Obviously, since we've deindustrialised, that's been lost somewhat. So now the M50 is probably more familiar as a holidaymaker's route going to the Welsh valleys and the middle of Wales, you know, the green desert and all that. It's lost a lot of its function as an industrial route. But it's still interesting to see that because it was built so early on and because it's lost its importance, it hasn't really been updated. This is the closest you'll get to being able to drive on a motorway as it would have been in 1961. Much like how if you drive on the M45, that's the closest you'll get to being on a motorway as if it was 1959. But that one has lost its unique original feel because they put a junction halfway along it. Nothing on the M50 has changed. All that's happened since 1961 is routine maintenance. So it has slightly more up-to-date signs and crash barriers. That's it. The rest of it, it's still a dual 2-lane motorway with intermittent hard shoulders. It's such a relic, it's a throwback and I love it. But for some reason, all the junctions are a little bit substandard because they were designed so early on and people haven't quite thrashed out the details. It's a running sort of comment. If you've ever seen pictures of the old M5 before that was widened, it was the same on there. The motorways down in Worcestershire, Gloucestershire and Herefordshire, those that do exist, they had more in common with German Autobahnen of the 1930s than what we would say motorways are today. But that's fine, with the exception of the M5, because the traffic volumes just went through the roof as soon as that opened and it was a battle to keep it moving ever since. That's why it got widened at great expense. But that didn't need to happen to the M50, so we're left with this wonderful little time portal. And of the 4 junctions, Junction 4 is a flat roundabout, Junction 3 is this one, which we're covering in a bit more detail. 2 is a very compact diamond interchange, and Junction 1 is a folded partial cloverleaf interchange with single carriageway slip roads, which is a thing we don't do on motorways anymore either. And then obviously you've got the infamous Strensham interchange where it meets the M5, which used to be a trumpet and is now just a 2-bridge roundabout. So while we're here, let's have a nosy at some of the best bits of the M50 and let's just pay a bit of respect to this little old thing, because it's old enough to retire really if you think about it, but it won't. It'll continue as long as it's needed. There is a belief that this was only ever intended to be a temporary junction, because the B4221 was intended to become some kind of improved A40, but evidence to prove that is a bit thin on the ground, so we've only got speculation. And the B4221 would have needed quite a bit of upgrade work to bring it up to scratch. I don't think that theory can be proven. I would say no, because it matches similar style junctions on, say, the A1, which was built around the same time. It's just a standard left-in, left-out interchange. It's actually, on an A road, it would be completely unremarkable, but the fact it's been built on a motorway is what makes it interesting. Not sure why the connecting road here has a driver location sign on it. This is still technically part of the B4221 here. Motorway restrictions don't start for another 50 metres or so. Interesting. And there it is, folks. The entrance to the M50 at Junction 3. Well, in the westbound direction anyway. Luckily, if you want to observe this junction in its gloriousness, you can stand on the B4221 overbridge and you can see it in the background. Like I said, The M50 is a nice bit of road. It is a scenic motorway, very scenic. In fact, when it was built, it actually got plaudits for that. And they did have problems with some people thinking that the central reservation was a good place to have a picnic. You can get a bus here. It's amazing, isn't it? You can get buses in some strange places. The eastbound entry is just as fun. Literally is a gap in the fence, there's no other way to describe it. Coming off the motorway itself, there's an advisory 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, and you'd be well advised to follow that, because if you don't, you'll end up slamming into a give-way line almost instantly, if the 90-degree bend doesn't get you first. Must have been great fun in a Ford Anglia of the time. I have seen some very large heavy goods vehicles using this junction as well. That must be really terrifying, trying to join in one of those. As ever, big thanks go to all my supporters on Patreon and Ko-fi, including those who just watch and subscribe and like my videos as well. You're all brilliant too. If you want to get your name on this screen that's on now, the details to do so are provided. As ever, no compulsion, but any support is wonderfully appreciated. Thank you so much. So I think that pretty much covers it. That's Jay's Green interchange. Shall we go and have a look at some of the other joys of the M50 before we wrap this video up? I think we should.